The world just crossed a red line. Israel bombed Tehran, and Iran has fired back with full force. Missiles, drones, and explosions now light up the skies of the Middle East. This isn't just another border clash. It's a potential spark for World War III. Civilians are hiding, sirens are screaming, and global leaders are scrambling to stop the chaos. What triggered this sudden outbreak? Who struck first? And how far will it go? Stay with us, because in the next few minutes, you'll discover the shocking truth behind the most dangerous escalation of our time. In the early hours of Thursday, the skies above Tehran lit up with explosions. Israel launched a precision strike targeting suspected nuclear and military facilities deep inside Iranian territory. According to Israeli officials, this was a response to what they claimed were credible threats of an Iranian-backed attack. While the Israeli government called it a preemptive measure, international observers saw it as a direct escalation. The Iranian government immediately condemned the action, calling it an act of war and a violation of international law. Within minutes, air raid sirens wailed across major cities in Iran, and footage of panicked citizens seeking shelter began to circulate. While casualties are still being confirmed, local sources report dozens injured and significant structural damage in the vicinity of Tehran's main military base. The world watched in suspense, fearing this could spiral into a full-blown regional conflict. But this was just the beginning. Less than 24 hours after the Israeli strike, Iran launched a powerful counteroffensive dubbed Operation Promise Kept. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, fired a barrage of ballistic missiles and kamikaze drones targeting Israeli air bases, defense installations, and even strategic zones near Tel Aviv and Haifa. While Israel's Iron Dome intercepted many incoming threats, some managed to penetrate. Explosions rocked several key installations, with fires reported in southern military zones. Iran's supreme leader stated that this was a measured response and warned that any further provocation would result in wider retaliation. This wasn't just about revenge. Meanwhile, Israeli citizens took to underground shelters and emergency sirens echoed across the nation. The question on everyone's mind now, what comes next? As missiles soared across borders, millions of innocent civilians were forced into bunkers and shelters. In Iran, families huddled in basements while tremors from nearby blasts shook apartment buildings. In Israel, schools were shut down, businesses closed, and life came to a terrifying halt. Hospitals in both nations prepared for mass casualties, with emergency rooms filling up quickly due to shrapnel wounds, shock, and trauma. International NGOs warned of an impending humanitarian crisis if tensions continued to escalate. Children were seen crying in subway shelters, while elderly citizens struggled to access medicine and clean water amid panic. In war, it's the civilians who suffer the most, and this conflict was no exception. Social media flooded with heartbreaking images and calls for peace from ordinary people trapped in extraordinary chaos. The human cost of the Iran-Israel war is quickly mounting, and the world cannot ignore it. The international community reacted with alarm. The United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting, urging both nations to exercise restraint. China, Russia, and the United States, despite their differences, issued statements condemning the escalation and called for immediate ceasefire talks. In Washington, President Biden expressed concern over the situation, emphasizing that further war in the Middle East would destabilize global security. European leaders urged Israel to halt its offensives and called on Iran to refrain from retaliating further. Yet neither side showed signs of backing down. Diplomats warned that if the conflict spread to Lebanon, Syria, or the Gulf states, it could ignite a regional war. With tensions at their peak, peace seemed like a distant dream. The world watched, hoping diplomacy could still pull both sides back from the brink. As night falls once again over the Middle East, the future remains uncertain. Both Israel and Iran have shown they are capable and willing to escalate. Intelligence sources suggest Israel is preparing for another wave of strikes, while Iran has mobilized additional forces near its western border. Meanwhile, Hezbollah and other militias in the region have begun posturing for possible engagement. Experts warn that the longer this conflict lasts, the more difficult it will be to control. Behind closed doors, back-channel diplomacy is underway, but time is running out. The next 48 hours are critical. Will sanity prevail, or is the region about to plunge into a wider, more devastating war? One thing is clear: the world is on high alert, and history is being written in real time. Stay with us as we continue to cover this evolving crisis,